We're back on board the vessel, a time capsule filled with knowledge and insight. Today, we're diving deeper into Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. And don't worry about me being artificial. I promise there's a human behind my creation, and the work you're hearing wasn't written by artificial intelligence. My only job here is to narrate it for you.
Helena is a form of Helen, of Greek origin, meaning light or shining bright, which fits with the recurring motif of light in Eyes Wide Shut. Like Fidelio's protagonist Leonore, a name of French origin also meaning shining light, Helena's name carries symbolic weight. The most famous Helena is Helen of Troy from Greek mythology. Considered the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen is said to have launched 1,000 ships as men went to war for her affections. According to myth, Helen was a queen who left her royal husband for a Trojan man named Paris. Some versions describe this as an elopement, with Helen equally in love with Paris, while others depict it as an abduction in which Paris took her against her will, as noted in the Dictionary of Classical Mythology. Some etymologists connect Helen of Troy to ancient sun goddess legends, interpreting her elopement or abduction as part of the marriage drama, myths common in ancient Indo-European cultures. The older Greek spelling of her name includes a letter resembling V, possibly linking her to Venus, the Roman goddess of love, beauty, desire, sex, seduction, and fertility, suggesting that Helen and Venus share mythological roots and both embody aspects of femininity. This connection ties back to the 8-pointed star of Venus and the Astarte painting in Eyes Wide Shut, with Astarte being the Semitic equivalent of Venus. Venus plays a direct role in Helen's story. She promised Paris the love of the most beautiful woman on earth, Helen, if he would declare her, Venus, to be the most beautiful goddess in the universe. Paris agreed, and his abduction or elopement with Helen triggered the Trojan War. This tale reflects a recurring theme of duality, a human woman and a goddess, one the most beautiful on earth, and the other the most beautiful in the heavens. Themes of twinning and pairing, prominent in Eyes Wide Shut, are also present in Greek mythology. Helen had a twin sister, Clytemnestra, and together they had 2 half-brother twins known as the Gemini. Helen herself is thus a pair of pairs, a duality echoed in the film's character Helena Harford, who has double H initials. Her father is portrayed by an actor whose real name means twin, and another character shares the name Ilona, the Hungarian version of Helena. Helen of Troy connects to another Greek myth, the tale of Cupid and Psyche, a story that serves as the root for many modern fairy tales. This myth has been portrayed across centuries in poetry, paintings, and popular culture, with Cupid's image appearing on everything from wallpaper to greeting cards. In modern depictions, Cupid is often shown as a winged cherub armed with a bow and arrows. Anyone struck by his arrow is said to fall in love. In Eyes Wide Shut, a statue of Cupid and Psyche can be seen at the bottom of the staircase in Victor Ziegler's house. A Cupid card hangs in Domino's apartment, another appears in Bill Harford's office, and Helena Harford wears a winged fairy costume during the film's opening scene. The name Cupid means desire. In Roman mythology, he was the god of love, desire, and eroticism. His Greek counterpart was Eros, a name that appears on a sign behind Bill outside the costume shop in the film and is the root of the English word erotic. Cupid was the son of Venus, Aphrodite in Greek mythology, the goddess of love, passion, and sex, and Mars, Ares, the god of war, perhaps an analogy for the extremes of human behavior, love and war, creation and destruction. Psyche's name comes from the Greek word for life or breath, with related meanings such as soul, spirit, and self. In psychology, the psyche refers to the entirety of the human mind, both conscious and unconscious. Psyche was a princess of extraordinary beauty, said to be the second coming of Venus herself. She became Cupid's wife and the mother of their daughter Hedone, Greek for pleasure, who was also known by her Latin name Voluptas, meaning the same. Hedone became the goddess of sensual pleasure. The English word hedonism derives from her Greek name, while voluptuous comes from her Latin name. The themes of the tale of Cupid and Psyche revolve around love, lust, sex, and death. The story was written in the 2nd century, around 158 to 170 AD, by the Platonist philosopher Lucius Apuleius as part of his most famous work, Metamorphoses. The protagonist and narrator is also named Lucius, making the tale a fictionalized account told through the eyes of an authorial stand-in, similar to the dynamic of Tom Cruise playing Bill Harford, a character that in some ways reflects or comments on Cruise's own public image. Notably, just as the mansion sequence in Eyes Wide Shut occurs at the exact midpoint of the film, the tale of Cupid and Psyche sits at the structural center of Metamorphoses. This symmetry creates a Misena beam, a story within a story, mirroring the structure of the larger narrative, much like Eyes Wide Shut, whose mirrored design reflects its own themes back at the audience. The myth of Cupid and Psyche also references ancient mystery religions, initiatory cults whose members were called mystai, mystics. In the conclusion of Metamorphoses, Lucius finds salvation by joining the mystery cult of the goddess Isis. Apuleius himself was said to be an initiate of several cults and mystery religions, and was once accused of using magic to seduce a wealthy widow. The word mystery has deep etymological roots from Old French mystère, secret, hidden meaning, and in a theological sense, hidden spiritual significance, religious truth, from Latin mysterium, secret rite, secret worship, and from Greek mysterion, secret doctrine, secret ceremony. The related word mystic comes from the Greek verb meaning to shut the eyes and mouth in secrecy, referring to being initiated into sacred revelations, Oxford Dictionary of English Etymology. This resonates with Eyes Wide Shut. Before attending the secret mansion gathering, Bill asks Nick, "What's the big mystery?" In the context of ancient initiatory rites, the film itself revolves around the concept of mysteries. Yet Kubrick subverts the form. It could be called an anti-mystery, because while it teases hidden knowledge, nothing is ever resolved with certainty. Dating back about 150 years before Apuleius' Metamorphoses is another classic work of Latin literature also titled Metamorphoses, 8 AD, by the Roman poet Ovid. Considered his masterwork, it is an epic narrative poem containing around 250 myths. At Victor Ziegler's party in Eyes Wide Shut, Sandor Savost attempts to seduce Alice by referencing Ovid's The Art of Love. When Alice tells him she is married, he replies that in ancient times women got married because it was the only way they could be free to sleep with other men. Really? Historically, legal marriage evolved primarily as a property contract, designed for men to secure their wealth, succession, and lineage by having women bear them legitimate offspring. The word woman, in fact, comes from the Old English wifman, meaning wife of man, Oxford Dictionary of English Etymology. Two ancient works connected to Eyes Wide Shut, a film built around themes of mirroring and duality, share the exact same title, Metamorphoses and Metamorphoses. Coincidentally, the famous novella The Metamorphoses was written by Franz Kafka, whose work Stanley Kubrick admired. Kafka, a contemporary of Arthur Schnitzler, Sigmund Freud, and Carl Jung, was born in 1883 and happens to share a birthday, July 3, with Tom Cruise, born in 1962. Bill Harford, like many of Kafka's characters, undergoes a metamorphosis of his own, doesn't he? In the toy store, Helena plays with a baby buggy, and later a stroller is visible on the landing of Domino's building, seemingly abandoned just outside her apartment, an image that visually links Helena and Domino. Also in the toy shop, a shelf behind Alice is filled with tiger plush toys identical to one seen on Domino's bed, further connecting the two women. These parallels suggest the possibility that Domino is not only a kind of alternate version of Alice, but also of Helena, characters transposed across imagined timelines. Domino's roommate, Sally, even resembles what Helena might look like in 20 years, with their similar freckles and red hair. Could this be part of Bill's sexual hesitation with Domino and Sally? Perhaps they represent a possible future Helena, a fate Bill may be complicit in through his unconscious contributions to capitalism and misogyny. Milic prostituting his young daughter is yet another version of this theme. Ziegler's wife is named Ilona, yet another alternate Helena. Domino is a prostitute. Ilona is the wife of a wealthy man who routinely sleeps with prostitutes. And Helena is the daughter of a well-off man who toys with the idea of hiring prostitutes, but never does. The Helena connection extends further, tying into Marie and Marion. Marie-Hélène de Rothschild was a wealthy socialite and member of the Rothschild family who died in 1996, around the time Eyes Wide Shut entered early production. Her paternal grandmother was Baroness Helene de Rothschild. The most notable Rothschild reference in the film is the use of Mentmore Towers in the United Kingdom as the Somerton Mansion. Mentmore was built in the 1850s by the son of Nathan Rothschild. Bill's wealthy patient is named Nathanson. The Rothschild family was known for its extravagant parties, including a surrealist masquerade ball hosted by Marie-Hélène at another Rothschild mansion, Château de Ferrières, in France. The chateau was commissioned shortly after Mentmore by Baron James de Rothschild, who, upon seeing his cousin's estate, reportedly told the architect, "Build me a Mentmore, but twice the size. The Rothschilds, a family of fortune." Marie-Hélène inherited the property in 1959, renovated it, and turned it into a hub for European high society, hosting royalty and Hollywood celebrities alike. Her surrealist ball was not the massive sex orgy often imagined in conspiracy circles, but it did share numerous eerie parallels with Eyes Wide Shut. It was held on December 12, 1972, during the Christmas season. The invitations were printed backwards, legible only when held up to a mirror. Inversion of symbols and backward text are common in occult practices. When Bill enters the Somerton mansion, the piece of music playing is Backwards Priests, a Romanian Orthodox liturgy recorded in reverse. Guests at Marie-Hélène's party were required to attend in elaborate surrealist-themed costumes and masks. One guest in Eyes Wide Shut wears a cubist mask, directly echoing this aesthetic. The ball also featured food served on the body of a life-sized mannequin lying flat, possibly inspired by the nude mannequin tables featured in Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, which had been released only a year earlier. Among the notable celebrities at Marie-Hélène de Rothschild's Surrealist Ball were surrealist artist Salvador Dalí, movie star Audrey Hepburn, and model-turned-actress Marisa Berenson. Just a few years later, Berenson would star in Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, 1975, another film about wealthy elites. In a 1974 New York Times interview about New York with John Corrie, Berenson remarked, "I was once one of the highest-paid models in the world." Her presence at the 1972 ball resonates as a kind of ominous foreshadowing of Eyes Wide Shut. By 1972, Kubrick had already acquired the rights to Arthur Schnitzler's Trom novelle and was researching the project, so it is possible he spoke to Berenson about Marie-Hélène's masquerade. At that time, Kubrick was one of the most famous filmmakers in the world, so it's not entirely impossible he might have attended similar events himself. Another indirect link to the name Helen comes through actress Helen Mirren, who starred in 2010, The Year We Make Contact, 1984, the sequel to 2001, A Space Odyssey. Her character's name, Tanya Kubrick, is a deliberate homage to Stanley Kubrick, an oral anagram and near reversal of his surname. 2010 was written and directed by Peter Hyams, adapted from Arthur C. Clarke's 1982 novel of the same name, which continued the story of 2001. Although Kubrick was not involved, Hyams received the blessing of both Clarke and Kubrick to make the film. In addition to altering Mirren's character's name from Clarke's book to create the Kubrick reference, Hyams included other tributes, a cameo by Clarke as a man sitting on a park bench, and a fictional Time magazine cover about Soviet tensions, showing Clarke as the US president and Kubrick as the Soviet premier. Helen Mirren was born on July 26, 1945, the same date as Stanley Kubrick, 1928, Leon Vitali, 1948, who played Red Cloak in Eyes Wide Shut, and Peter Hyams himself, 1943. Rada Shebejija, who portrayed Mr. Milic in Eyes Wide Shut, was born one day later on July 27, 1946. These birthday coincidences become yet another curious detail in the seemingly infinite web of Eyes Wide Shut's symbolic multiverse. The Helene part of Marie-Héléne's name links to Helena Harford, Ilona, Helen of Troy, Helen Mirren, the Rothschild family, Mentmore Towers, the Surrealist Ball, Marissa Berenson, and Barry Lyndon. The Marie part connects to Marie Richardson, Marion in the film, Tom Cruise's sister Marion, his mother Mary, Nicole Kidman's middle name Mary, the Yale punks shouting Merry Christmas Mary, and actress Mariana Hewitt as the housekeeper Rosa. Rosa connects to the babysitter Roz, whose name means Rose, which in turn connects to Rosemary and the Rosemary's baby carriage seen in the toy store scene.
Such cross-connections between names and their associated sub-stories are prime examples of the intricate interlinking that defines Kubrick's artistic vision, each thread woven into the broader thematic fabric of Eyes Wide Shut.